Hey, what's going on YouTube? You guys have tuned into the Reddit Tube Dude, where we discuss all things Reddit. On this channel, we're going to discuss and kind of check out interesting new subreddits. On occasion, we'll be deep diving into specific Reddit posts just to kind of see different people's takes and opinions on different kind of trending stories, current events, news stories, or other topics. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at a relatively new subreddit. I think this one came on the scene in like June of 2020. This one is called r/REBubble, and it stands for Real Estate Bubble. The sub currently has 15,165 members. It's about 7:31 in the morning, Chicago time, and we're looking right now. We got 217 members online, and the self-described REBubble subreddit is all about a place to freely discuss and investigate the U.S. current housing bubble, share evidence, Zillow screenshots, and other interesting items. So it's no secret, the real estate market is crazy. There's been a shortage of inventory in the real estate market for probably going on a decade or more. But things have really gotten bad in recent years, in large part because of the Mexican beer cough. I think with everything going on, with people losing their jobs, with the economy, on the precipice of collapse, I think a lot of people over the past couple of years didn't want to move until they see how things shake out, right? You don't want to take on a 30-year mortgage or buy a house or maybe move across the country for a job opportunity when everything is so up in the air. So I think that caused a lot of people to just kind of shelter in place or huddle in place. You also had, probably not so much so anymore now that the Mexican beer cough is kind of over and out of most people's minds. But I do think you probably still have some percentage of the population who doesn't really want strangers in their home. And earlier on during the pandemic, I think that was definitely much more true, where people were freaked out and people didn't really want strangers coming through their home to look at their home. I do think now that some of that has gone away and things are slowly kind of getting back to normal, I think more people may be interested in moving, relocating, buying homes, selling homes. But just because of the events of the past 2 years and how crazy prices have gotten, a lot of people feel like we are in a bubble and don't want to buy. So with this subreddit, it's kind of all about, yes, it is talking about the current housing market. They'll show lines of cars outside of a new development where people are like picking lots. They'll show lines of cars outside of open houses. And there's a lot of posts ranting about BlackRock and iBuyers. And all the corporations buying up all the housing. You'll see a house will get bought for $500,000. 2 days later, they'll relist it for like $700,000. And so there's a lot of screenshots posted of crazy things like that, where obviously they didn't do any rehabs. They didn't even do any cosmetic fixes like painting. They literally just bought a house, turned around, and are trying to sell it for $50,000 more, $100,000 more, $200,000 more. So that's kind of what this subreddit is all about. In terms of who's in this subreddit, I think a lot of people are just kind of doom scrollers. There's another subreddit called r/claps, where nobody's really trying to, it's all about societal collapses, but it's just kind of doom scrolling, right? Like it's kind of a fun mental exercise to think about worst case scenarios. It's kind of like driving by and staring at a car crash on the side of the road. This real estate bubble, I think, is less so about people asking questions about home buying, about the housing market, and more just kind of gawking at it. But let's take a look. One thing I've kind of noticed, a lot of people on this subreddit seem to be kind of bitter that their dreams of home ownership have kind of been crushed, right? Like, the government has not really incentivized or rewarded savers, right? Like if you invest your money, whether it be in real estate or the stock market or anything else, your money has been growing dramatically over the past couple of years. But people who are saving, you're really just kind of losing money to inflation. So a lot of people, and historically saving has been a positive thing. So a lot of people, who probably could have over leveraged themselves and bought a home a few years ago said, no, I'm going to save a nice emergency fund. I'm going to get a hefty down payment, and then I'm going to buy. And they tried to do the right thing. And now, even though they've saved and they got the down payment and everything else, the price of homes is up 25%, 50%. In some hotter markets, it's even doubled or tripled in price. And these people who thought they were doing the right thing have essentially been locked out of the housing market, have been priced out of the housing market. There's a lot of bitterness in this sub. Let's see, over 5.2%, and it's not April yet. I do think we're going to see interest rates continue to go up even more. In reality, in order to stop inflation, interest rates actually need to be higher than inflation. I know the Fed and the government is not going to do that, right? Like it would crash the economy, and they don't want that to happen. But we're really not going to make any meaningful impact with inflation. You know, the official government stated inflation rate is like 8%. In reality, it's probably closer to 30 something percent. But unless mortgage rates, or unless interest rates, I should say, get over 8%, it's not really going to do much to curb inflation. And even 8% may not be enough. I think we're going to see rates continue to go up. Will this, cause the rise in housing prices to slow down or plateau, or might we even see a pullback in prices a little bit? A lot of people are calling for a real estate crash, or saying we're in a real estate bubble. A lot of people say, well, this situation is different than 2008, right? We don't have no verification loans. We don't have loans where people state their own incomes and nothing is checked. We don't have people buying 6 homes speculating. The lending rules have tightened up. Also in this market right now, it's mostly cash buyers. And if it's not cash buyers, at the very least, it's people getting conventional mortgages who actually have some skin in the game. And then we also have BlackRock and a lot of iBuyers and Zillow and all these other companies buying up homes as well. So I don't really see a situation where there's going to be like mass foreclosures, or where the housing, quote unquote bubble could actually pop and things could really tank. I mean, even if you over leverage yourself and bought a home a year or two ago that you can't afford, I mean, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equity at this point. It's very easy to just sell that home, take your profits, and go rent or do whatever else. Let's see, it's over 5.2%, and it's not April yet. Even if you're going with a 10-year ARM, 5.38%, a 15-year fixed, 4.216%. Let's see what some people are saying over here. Sorry, my Reddit's been taking a long time to load lately. Whenever I do these screen records, it always takes a little bit longer. Well, that escalated quickly. Well, time to go shitpost on the poll that was posted at the beginning of the month. Real estate, never been a better time to buy. Can't time the market. You're going to get priced out. They're not making any more land. Oh, wait, that's what people told me in 2006. Did you leave your home in the 2008 crash? So here's another thing, right? Like, I feel like a lot of people are very uncertain right now. Like, I feel like prices are at an all-time high. I feel like this is unsustainable. I've been home shopping down in Florida for the past 2 years. And I mean, when I first started, not a dream home, but there were pretty nice homes, 1,000 to 1,300 square feet, pool in the backyard with a cage over the pool. Nothing like super luxurious, but nice, solid homes for $260,000, $280,000. Some a little bit more. Like, I could get a really nice home at that time for $310,000, $330,000. I mean, those same homes today would cost me over $400,000. I'm seeing houses for $399,000, $410,000, $420,000 that aren't in very good shape, are very dated, aren't in the best areas. So the prices have just gone crazy. But you have people, and I can definitely relate to this, where you're kind of like, I feel like if I don't buy now, I'm going to be priced out. Inflation is getting worse. This market only seems to be getting more pricey. If I don't buy now, I may never be able to buy. But then the other side of you is kind of tugging at you, saying, do you really want to buy at the peak? Like, the people who bought in 2006, 2007 at the peak of the bubble, I mean, it took them 15 years just to get back to even. My grandparents bought a house around that time. They just recently sold. They're not really walking away with any profit. They basically were lucky enough to get their money back out of it. And that's with this recent run-up in prices. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Like, do you guys think that things are only going to continue to go higher? Are you guys waiting for the quote-unquote bubble to pop? Or are you kind of unsure which direction things are going to go? In my state, it is 4.94% for 400K with a credit score of 740 plus and a down payment of 5%. Strangely, with a higher down payment of 20%, the rate actually increases to 5.05%. A Rocket Mortgage ad on the radio today assured me that I can get a 3.25%, and I better take advantage because no one knows how long these rates will last. You're all about to see that no, everyone is not rich. They just had absurdly low percentage rates on their mortgage. Canada still gives you around 1%. So if you think the market here is going to crash, keep an eye out for them. It's going to be pretty spectacular. Let's see, what else do we got here? Guys, we need to start making graphics like the ones realtors do, but showing the difference in price Now that the interest rates are high, we need to start making our own propaganda. Like I said before, people are taking out loans on their artificially inflated houses to buy more overinflated houses. This crash is going to be quite epic. So I guess basically what they're saying here is, let's say I bought a house for 200,000. It's now, the value supposedly right now, or the comps are at 500,000. In theory, I could take out, almost $300,000 in the form of a home equity loan. And even though we don't have the same situation as 2008, if the housing market were to retrace or even crash, and somebody can't pay back that home equity line that they took out, now they're in a situation where the house is going to get foreclosed on. Let's see what people say about this. Bigger pockets. I hate, that's one of those things about Reddit that annoy me, is this whole like mix of capital letters and lowercase letters. A lot of people say that with COVID stuff, a lot of people are saying the same thing, but my freedoms and all this other nonsense. I don't know if people think it's creative or clever or witty. It's kind of stupid. Let's see here. It's going to be very hard to feel bad for these people when this inevitably occurs. I wouldn't feel bad as most when they decide to default, live and collect rent without paying mortgage fees for a year or two. And what these fools forget is they aren't banks, they are major lending institutions. There won't be a bailout for the small-time TikTok investor that made a dumbass decision out of greed. And you can kind of see some of the spitefulness of people who are basically just upset that the price of homes is up. And anybody else who bought is the enemy. If you're a flipper or even a landlord, you're kind of hated on this sub. But even just normal first-time home buyers and things like that. Oh, that fucking idiot. Why is he driving up prices? Why is he buying? What a dummy. This guy doesn't know that he's buying at an all-time high. If people stop buying at these high prices would come back down, as if the United States collectively, everyone's going to get together and be like, let's quit buying houses, right? Like as soon as the price dips a little bit, someone's going to come out of the woodwork and buy, and all of a sudden your attempt to crash the market or pull back prices is just not going to work. I wonder what's coming cash purchase numbers will be. I speculate most of the cash sales, I think 33% of transactions, were not cash from a savings or investment account, but largely leverage cash. As rates rise, the refi and HELOC decrease. I bet we see an evaporation of cash deals as well. So we're actually seeing a lot of things. I've been talking to my realtor. My realtor did say that you have a lot of parents who are giving their kids money to buy homes in cash. They're pulling money out of their retirement accounts, gifting some money to the kids, or buying a home for the kids. So that's happening. There definitely are true cash buyers out there, but now there are also services that will basically, normally you get a loan on a home. These companies will basically give you a large cash loan up front so that you can go in as a cash buyer. But essentially, for all intents and purposes, you're basically taking out a mortgage with a private entity. I was told that an investor was buying my rental houses, quote unquote, in cash. When we went to the closing, they were taking a loan. Trust, there are very few people that are actually debt-free. They mainly use leverage. Leverage is terrible that when you are at the top of any market. So here's the thing, right? So I was going to put down, I initially planned on financing. I was toying with the idea of paying in cash. All real estate closings, all real estate deals are cash deals. The buyer is going to get cash at the end. The thing is, some people use a mortgage. So I can put a cash offer on a home, and basically all that means is that I don't have a contingency for getting a mortgage. So normally when you put an offer on a home, you're getting a mortgage, and written into the offer on a home will be like, this offer is contingent on me being able to get a loan for $300,000. If the mortgage is going to cost me over 4%, that's kind of my out of the deal. And I'm not going to lose any money, and I'm not going to lose my earnest money if I'm unable to get a loan. All a cash offer means is that you're basically waiving that contingency. So I'm guaranteeing you I'm going to buy this house. It's not contingent on me getting a mortgage. It's not contingent on the rate being any certain rate. And basically, if I'm unable to get a mortgage, I have the option of either coming up with cash, or at that point, I forfeit my earnest money. But a lot of people put in cash offers to be competitive, but then ultimately wind up doing a mortgage. And a lot of people, if somehow an issue comes up with the mortgage, they'll just wind up paying cash instead. Is there any data showing overall trends in cash out refis? Let's see. Maybe they believe the crash already happened and they are transforming useless money on something that will have value, big companies are all in. So basically what they're saying, we're about to enter a period, we already have crazy inflation. 30% inflation is crazy. But we may be entering an area of hyperinflation where everything literally like doubles in price. The U.S. government's credit rating has already been dropped down, and it's anticipated it's going to be dropped down even further. We're printing money like crazy. We're giving trillions of dollars to Ukraine when we have no money ourselves. And so we're basically devaluing the dollar. We're on the precipice of an economic collapse. And if your currency is going to go down the shitter, I would much rather have property than currency. Big company executives only make their profit from stock. They could care less if the company fails in 3 or more years. Buyers lost $70,000 in affordability on an average payment from December 2020 due to a rise in interest rates alone. At what point will this be reflected in prices? Let's see here. Okay, so I got another minute, and then we'll have to wrap this one up. But again, we're looking at the REBubble subreddit. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this subreddit, as well as kind of just the real estate market as a whole, and kind of what you think about everything that we're discussing here today. If you include property taxes, it's even less. I'd love to pay $1,500 a month on a $390,000 house. High cost of living areas have crazy taxes, which is odd since public services are much cheaper per capita in urban areas. It's not necessarily high cost of living. Texas property taxes are ridiculous, and it isn't high cost of living. I always think this is funny. People talk about how high Texas property taxes are, and I guess maybe in relation to other areas of the country that's true. I'm in the Chicagoland area, and our property taxes make Texas look like nothing. So it's funny to me when people say like, "Oh, Texas property taxes are high." I mean, for what I would get 1,000 square foot, bungalow for here in Chicago, I could probably get like a 4,000 square foot house in Texas with a pool on a bunch more land. So, the cost of living is much cheaper in Texas. You get a lot more house for your money in Texas. And even though their property taxes are quote unquote high, I guess that's relative to where you're coming from, but it would actually be substantially cheaper than living in Chicago or Illinois. And this guy says ditto for Northern Illinois. But Texas does not have state income tax, right? The property taxes don't scale up or down to income. So I get that, but I mean, isn't some of the trade-off for high property taxes there is in fact no state income tax? So that's true. In Illinois, we have, our gas is taxed twice. We have a high state income tax that actually got raised a couple years ago. We pay high taxes on everything, plus a lot of BS taxes like, if you want a plastic bag at the grocery store, there's a 10% tax on that. There's a special tax on sugary foods and drinks. We're taxed a high hell here in Illinois. And even though Texas may have high property taxes, they get a break in other areas, and that's not the case here in Illinois. Let's see. Pretty soon, in my humble opinion, the problem is affordability. Rates going up after a 20% year-over-year increase wouldn't be as big of a deal if home prices had started from an extremely low level in terms of median incomes. But it seems like raises are rising into a market where home prices are at a multi-decade high as multiple medium income. Most buyers simply can't afford this rise in rates, so prices are going to have to drop if sellers actually want to sell. People keep saying cash buyers, but it's not like these people aren't looking for a deal. If you remove 70 to 80% of competition because they can't get a mortgage, you are going to see less crazy overbidding. From what I'm seeing, it's mostly cash buyers right now. I mean, my realtor down in the Tampa area actually told me, like, basically, in so many words, he said, don't even bother putting in an offer unless it's a cash offer, just because we'd basically both be wasting our time. So, yeah, maybe you take a few people out of the market, maybe in less competitive regions. This will actually make a difference. But generally speaking, I don't think this is going to have a big impact on home prices unless mortgage rates continue going up, and up some more. Let's see. The tenant won't move out. California now requesting $50K to move out. It's so easy to be a landlord, according to TikTok. California is a very tenant-friendly state. I do think it's a good thing if landlords aren't able to abuse and take advantage of tenants, but things can also go too far. We saw over the past 2 years with eviction moratoriums, a lot of people really abused that. Somebody stopped paying their mortgage but was buying big screen TVs, bought a new house. California is a state that's notoriously tenant-friendly to the point of kind of screwing over landlords. Most big cities, most blue states, and especially blue cities are this way as well. Being a landlord isn't easy. Can be profitable, but it's not easy. Increasing rates create substantial downshift for home sales. Verbal dance that goes to great lengths not to attribute the headwinds to be causal for a real estate value downturn. So I got to get running, but this is Real Estate Bubble. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Drop a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.